Let's do it now. Let's push the
Let's
button and
do
go.
it now. Okay.
Hey, how are ya?
I am good. I am good. Happy Funny Friday, Gwen Peterson from
Oh,
Spiritual Communities Network.
and you, Denise Flood of Change Your Frequency, Change Your Life.
Oh, cheers. I did make myself a fresh cup. Oh, what does yours say?
It says, wait for it. It's from Hamilton.
Okay. Okay.
Misty said the other day, my cup was sitting by the pot while it was brewing. And she goes, it's kind of funny.
It's very funny. It's very funny. I love it. This morning, my funny coffee story from this morning is I went, I put my cup there, I put the coffee in, I walk away, I come back, I forgot to put water.
Oh, no. So
So
what happened?
then I was
Nothing?
like, oh man, not only do I not have my coffee, but then I was clicking it down and it wouldn't work. And I'm like, oh no, don't tell me I broke my coffee machine. I have to get the French press out. But I unplugged it, plugged it back
Oh,
in.
no.
Then
First world problems.
I know. I would boil water on the stove and just throw the grinds in like I was camping if I have to.
There you go. So the pot didn't break or anything, huh?
I'm the only coffee drinker anymore in the house. Michael will drink coffee, like he'll take some of mine and water it down. He does not like strong coffee like I like your hair stands up coffee. So once Krista left the nest, I downsized, and then I downsized to like a Black and Decker where you just stick the cup in and you get 1 cup of coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Those little pad things. Yeah.
because counter space. Who doesn't need more counter space?
Oh, so you got rid of the big
It's
gazpacho
up in the
machine?
yeah, it's up in the cabinet. If people come cabinet, how do you say cabinet? Oh,
Cabinet?
cabinet. Well, I can say it different ways apparently because I asked you.
Oh, be French? Cabinet.
Yes. Oh, my cabinet. It holds my
Sandwich?
coffee pot.
Cabinet?
Oh, and then it goes into New Yorker. It holds my coffee.
There you go. Or Detroit? Shut up.
Oh, oh, yes, you are. Woo.
But I asked about the pot because I did one time turn on the pot without water, and the next thing I heard was the shattering sound.
Mm.
Those things they hold a lot of heat and they're pretty durable, but not on a hot pot with nothing in it.
Right, right. Yes. It was pretty hot, the part that holds the grinds. And I was like, because then you pour the water in and you hear it go. You're like, ah.
It spits at you. Well, I'm glad nothing too terrible happened.
No, I recovered. And I'm obviously not on my first cup now.
Yeah, there you go. I remember in my younger years, I got up to turn on the coffee pot. I had one on the stove. I think I was boiling water or something for it. Whatever it was, I got up, turned on the stove to boil something. I think it was coffee. And I went upstairs to get ready for work. And when I came downstairs, the whole first floor was filled with smoke. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then the smoke detector finally goes off. It's funny how it didn't go off right away, but it goes off. I run over. I had made brownies the night before and I left them on the stove. And that's what was on the burner, not what I thought was on the burner. I turned down the wrong burner or something. But this pan of brownies was almost in flames. there's just smoke billowing out of it. I was like, oh crap. I opened up all the windows, doors, knocked the smoke detector off the ceiling. Poor bird. I have a bird at the time, and I'm like, poor thing's gonna, they're real sensitive to air, you
Right.
know, stuff in the air. And so, oh my goodness. Yeah. There's been moments. I remember
Yes.
my sister telling me about eggs. She did that she put eggs in, she was going to hard boiled eggs. And she went away and forgot about them. And do you know what hard boiled eggs do when they run out of water?
Oh, I want you to tell me.
They explode.
I did not know that.
They explode. She had egg everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh no. Oh.
But you sound like you had a story.
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of fire alarms or smoke alarms when they go off, do you ever notice, and I'm wondering why this is, when the battery is low, why it only goes off in the middle of the night to let you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny you should say that, because everyone that's ever gone off for me has always been at night.
Right. I'm like, you're
Is it
sleeping
because that's the only
soundly.
time we hear it?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I would be perfectly capable of going up and taking care of it at 2 in the afternoon versus 2 in the morning.
I guess if you're home and you hear it, or if you don't have loud sounds, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, yeah. Middle of the night.
Yeah. Murphy's
Don't you
Law.
know?
How did they come up with that?
They don't even chirp. The midnight ones, they'll chirp, and then they go off. They
Yes.
just go off.
Yes. Yes.
They go
Yes.
beyond the chirp stage.
Yeah. Oh,
Smoke
we have
detectors.
the alarm does that too, like the house alarm. When the battery is low, all of a sudden it'll be like, why?
Our condo right now is having to do some updates because of the Surfside incident, Do you remember Surfside? I didn't know anything about Surfside. And then one day the HOA made a reference that they didn't want to be like Surfside. And I was like,
Oh, you mean in Miami?
I don't know. So I had to Google search it. Yeah, it's the I did a quick search on it. Yeah, it's that place in Miami that collapsed.
Yes,
Condo that
I do
collapsed.
know. I do
And
know.
I said to Shelby, I said, wow, I was telling him about my discovery, and he's like, what rock do you live under? He's like, that thing was news for months.
Yes,
For
now that
months.
there is a Surfside town, so I wasn't sure. But
Right.
yes, that
There
was
is. Yep.
hugely, and again, in the middle of the night, just like that's just,
No, there was no.
yeah, it happened at night.
I
I
thought
do
it collapsed
believe.
during the day.
I'm not sure. We could
Okay.
Google that.
I
I'm
thought it was during the day. I remember
thought
just
it was at
being
night.
like, wow, I really kind of missed that whole thing, which is fine. I'm good with that. I don't need to follow something like that every minute of my day for months, like Shelby said it was doing. But so anyway, back to the HOA is having to do some things. The state's kind of making things mandatory. And as they're doing that, as soon as they make any changes, the city of Naples and the county are like, oh, you're making changes? Oh, you need to upgrade everything.
Oh, right.
So one of the things they're going to do is we have to change out our smoke detectors. So all our smoke detectors have to speak to each other, not in the building, just in the
Oh,
unit.
okay.
And
Because
have
that'd be terrible if your neighbor was
oh,
a
yeah,
bad
no.
cook and theirs went off, so yours went off. I mean,
Right. No, just within the unit, they have to speak to each other. But they needed to have a 10-year battery on them. I guess you can get them with a lithium battery now that is good for 10 years. So I'm just going to put that out there that you may want to look into that.
I wonder if
I'm all about not having to change a battery for 10 years and those stupid transistor batteries are hard to come by nowadays.
Yes, yes, they are. But then again, you got to research the brand of lithium batteries because there are ones that have been catching on fire themselves. So nothing like putting the lithium battery that is a fire hazard in your smoke alarm.
So, let's ponder this. If you put a lithium battery in your smoke detector and it starts a fire, will it go off? Or will it tell the other ones to go off?
Yeah, maybe it will pass the word down. I'm not sure. But I don't know what we did before Google, but that collapse was at 1:25 a.m. because I remember people were running
No.
out in their pajamas and things, and they had nothing.
I did not
It is,
realize that.
yeah, it is a very,
So I'm amazed
yeah,
more people weren't injured.
well, yes. I don't know how tall the building was. How tall is your building?
We're 3 stories. We're
Oh,
not really tall.
right. What floor are you on?
First,
Oh,
so I'll be squished flat as a pancake.
no.
But, whatever.
Wait, I'm going to knock on the
Yeah.
hardest thing I have.
This is going to segue really well, okay, to the fair, okay? So the fair last weekend was lots of fun. I had a great time. I had a woman come up, and I probably will cry telling you this because she's so sweet. This woman came up. She had to be, I don't know, 80s, 90s. She was, definitely in her later years. She comes up to the table and she is just beaming. She's got this big smile. Her eyes are just sparkling. She's asking me about my book. I'm talking to her about it. And she's like, "Oh, the whole, everything started with that one event." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "I had a similar thing." And I said, "What was it?" And she goes, "I can't remember. It's been so long." She says, "But she was seeing somebody who was speaking, and they made the statement that if you have fear in your life, you don't have God." And she said it was like, boom. And she was like, "Oh my gosh." Thunderbolt. She was just like, it was a thunderbolt. She realized that she'd been living a very fearful life and that how could God be there if she was fearful, right? So she said she's never been fearful a day in her life since then. She says, it's made all the difference in the world. And so what was fun was that, it struck me on so many levels. But one of the things is that the fair was the first fair I've been to since COVID. And I had self quarantined for the last 3 years because I'm like, yeah, that won't be good if I get that. And so I've been really balancing with, just kind of checking in. I think I want to do this fair. How's that feel? And spirit will be like, yeah, go do the fair. And so that was such a great message that, don't come from fear. Don't come from
Well,
fear.
and
Plus, I kept getting these other things. When it's your time to go, it's your time to go. There's no accidents. You don't accidentally die. I was like, you don't accidentally die. So there you go. You know,
well, and it's
it's my
interesting.
time to be crushed like a
Right.
pancake at the bottom of a
Well,
building.
I hope that not, but it is a good time to mention that because it is a holy week for more than one major religion, and um, it is hopefully a celebration of being less fearful. But when you said fair and you mentioned the woman, in my head, I'm going, oh my word, are you going to tell me that she got on the tilt-a-whirl? Because when I heard fair, I was like, I love the fair. What rides did you go on?
Yeah, you know what? I don't do those fairs anymore because there's a lot of fear there. No, I take that back. We do the carnivals. Okay, we will do a carnival like the county fair and stuff. We'll do those. Won't do the rides, but we go for the food. The carnival food.
Oh, you mean that's That stuff that's really, really good for
Yeah,
you.
deep fried dough with all kinds of sugar.
Oh, I never forget we were at when I lived in Miami, we would go to Santa's Enchanted Forest every year, which was great. It started early. The lights went up and it was just so much fun and so beautiful. And some of those rides, but the food. Oh yeah. You know the what are those they have powdered sugar on them and they're flat.
Yeah, fried dough.
Yes, but it has a name.
Elephant ears.
Uh-oh. No, 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 no. I didn't think so. I don't know. But yes.
The
Mm.
ones I go to call them elephant ears.
You could,
But there's all kinds. Yeah, there's all kinds of names, and
yeah,
it's all fried dough, and I
right.
mean, it's really good though.
When I grew up in Pennsylvania, it was the apple festival, and everything was like fried apple fritters and candied apples, and take that healthy thing and what can you put in it and on it that'll clog your arteries in 3.2 seconds.
No, 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 no. You have apple in it. The apple counteracts all of that.
Yes, those enzymes go right to work cleaning up the.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
that
Yeah,
is
that's
funny.
probably one of the few things I do miss about up north, and that is the cider mills.
Oh, yes. When I was a kid, we actually, you could tour different factories, like actually go in the factory on the floor. And we did the Hershey's chocolate factory. And of course, then you got they would let you sample as you went along. We did the Musselman's apple factory where you were kind of on a bridge above, but you saw the apple peeling like machines. And but I do remember, and this will really date me because it was the 60s, and you saw the little old ladies and the little old men with the cigarette hanging out of their mouth like this, and the ashes were dropping in the on the thing, and nobody thought a thing about it.
Yeah, right.
Like, and they're talking to you like, I don't even know how you do, la 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 la. It's like, at least nobody was chewing tobacco.
Right, right.
No, that was popular.
Although there probably were. Yeah,
We
there was a
lived.
cider mill when I was a kid and it's still, and I'm pretty sure it's still there and still going. It's the old cider mill where it runs off of water,
Mm-hmm.
off of stream that's there. And then it has the big turny wheels with the big press. And so you walk in, and while you're waiting this long line to get your fresh apple cider, which is more like apple juice because it's coming right off the apples.
Right.
But as you're waiting, they snake you through that room where you watch the apples come in and get crushed up, watch them get smushed, and then you watch the guys pull off the smushed stuff and put the new stuff in, and then the smushed stuff, and that's technical terms there.
Is that with a capital S, smushed?
Yeah,
Okay.
smushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They use that for the donuts they make there. They mix it into the donuts. So when you finally get to the end where you've smelled the donuts cooking and the apples smushing,
Mm.
you get there and, oh man, everybody's just hanging out, drinking their apple cider and eating their warm donuts that just
Now,
came
were
out of
they
the cooker.
cakey donuts?
They're cakey, but because they have what essentially is applesauce in it,
Mm.
it's super moist, really, really moist. And when I say they're fresh, they're coming right out of the fryer.
Mm. Do you know who well, I haven't been there since pre-COVID. I had friends that lived up Bonita way. And there's what is it? It's on Bonita Beach Road. It's near the racetrack thing. I think it's the Greyhound racetrack. I don't even know if that's
Are you
still open.
talking about Charlene's?
It's an A-frame. It's an
I don't think
A-frame.
they do donuts anymore. Or
They
yeah, they are. It is. It's not Charlene's. Charlene's was a diner. It's now the Rail.
I thought it was something like the racetrack or something. I don't know. But
No, it has to do with the railroad, something railroad track donuts, rail track don't something track
it's
donuts. I don't know.
orange building, like an A.
Yeah, it
Oh
looks
yeah,
like a little teepee,
yeah, something like not a
A-frame, like
teepee.
you
It's not
said.
round. It's an A-frame.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's an
Okay.
A-frame. Yeah. Yeah.
But I did have one of their like apple fritter donuts once. Oh,
Oh.
it was delicious.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't go there when it was Charlene's, and then it's been that donut shop forever, and it just has like a bazillion people going in and out of it all the time.
We
But
were
for
in
some
line. Yeah.
reason, I don't know. There's something about
Well,
it.
when we went, my friend was having a what was she? She was having a, what do you call those? A yard sale. And so her son and I, we decided we'd go on the donut run. And so we got the donuts for everybody, and then we rolled down the window and passed the house, and we're like, "Hey!" As we're eating the donuts, like, "Oh, look at those people! Hey, do you have anything for a nickel?" You know. We went around the block like 3 times before we pulled
Oh,
into their donuts. We're mean like that, you
you're
know.
cruel. You are
Oh,
cruel.
it was, yeah, you know. So Michelle, if you
That's a
sit down,
side of you I've not seen, I have to say.
oh, hold on, namaste. That's my humorous, like, it happened to me. Actually, I'd probably run behind the car and go, "Give me my donut." Then I'd get my jogging in, so then I'd have room for the donut.
There you go. Then you'd have to have another donut.
That sounds like a plan. What are you doing today?
Oh, I got some stuff I gotta do, and then talk about Charlene, my mother-in-law is in
You,
town, so we're gonna get together for Domino's tonight. I'm here. You keep cutting in and out a little bit, just the last couple
okay.
seconds here. You there? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, you seem to be. I was like, I can see myself. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, one of us is not doing well.
It wouldn't tell me. It said one of your streams is slow, but it didn't name names.
Oh,
So what an equal
well, it's
opportunity.
probably you then, because it didn't flash anything at me.
Ah, well, you know how I am about flashing. No.
Flashing those donuts.
Yes. Ah,
So
so are you going to
anyway,
do Easter?
um, from a religion standpoint, I haven't done Easter in ages, just because I don't I take the other side of the perspective of that the whole point of his rising again was to show we're eternal. We're eternal. We're here. We don't die. We can come back if we want to. you know, it's called reincarnation. But I just I've kind of gotten away from the pomp and circumstance of my Catholic upbringing.
Oh, are you also from the Recovering Catholic Society?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I was going to actually ask you about Easter egg hunts.
Yeah, we don't do those anymore, because you know what? It's funny because Misty's birthday jockeys around Easter because
Okay.
she's on the 8th. So it's all, she's either right before, on, or after, depending on how the years go. And so hers falls the day before. So, when she was small, we used to take her to all the Easter egg hunts, and we'd hide a basket. And I think we hid a basket for her up until she was like in high school. And then finally she was just like, okay, guys, you don't need to hide a basket for me anymore. Just put the candy out and we'll eat it. So we really don't do that anymore. It more focuses just on her birthday
Oh,
kind of
that's
thing.
nice. Well,
Although I
you
do
have a great
decorate.
Misty.
I've got Easter bunnies out and
Oh,
Easter like ceramic.
Somebody sent me a card. I have a card out.
Look at you.
My uncle, who is in his 90s. So for him to get to the post office, I appreciate that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yeah, he's good like that.
Aw,
Yeah.
you're
And
special to him.
they never had children, and and I asked him to share because they've traveled around the world. So part of what I've asked him to do over the last couple of years is write down stories so that we could pass them down, so he sends them to me, and I'm sure
Aw,
I have some cousins somewhere.
that's
Uh,
super sweet.
yeah, because I think it's neat that they were part of the Great War and they traveled around afterwards. And
Yeah, and it's fun to hear it from them, like because Shelby's grandma, which would be Misty's great grandma, when Misty was a baby, she came to visit. She stayed with us for a couple weeks. She'd come around Christmas time, and the whole family, Shelby's side of the family, would come down at Christmas and stuff. So Toots would stay with us for a couple weeks, and she was always so much fun. She loved to drink her vodka.
oh,
And she was like, the really good vodka, it gets you drunk quicker. We're
the
like, well, then
101 proof.
no, she felt Absolute for some reason. Absolute just got the job done quicker. Not that she was an alcoholic by no means, but she would sit on the lanai with our parrot. We had a parrot at the time. She would sit out there and give him little treats, and she'd drink her whatever she was putting in her Absolute at the time. And she would sit there and tell us stories. So
Mm.
one time I grabbed a cassette player. Let me date myself. Let's put this in a time period for you. I grabbed the cassette player and I recorded some of her stories.
Oh,
So at some
yeah.
point, I want to take those. There's businesses that'll take those cassettes and transfer them over to digital so that you can keep them. So one of these days we're going to do that. Because it was her stories about, what when she was young and what that looked like. And I mean, that was a whole different world then, whole different
Yeah,
world.
it totally was. That reminds me when I was a kid, my father, we had the tape player as well. And those kind of holidays, he would just put the tape player on, put it under the table as everybody's sitting around. And so I do have tapes of conversations of those family gatherings. And I'll have to go hunt them up because I did bring them with me, because there's things like to hear the voices of the people who have gone before me. And I think that would be a really nice thing to do.
Aw.
As well as I'm wonder now I'm wondering how many of them were like really like, oh, well, that wasn't really appropriate.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, I'm like, I think I said, sometimes you say something, you're like, man, that came out all backwards. The thing with Toots, we would get Absolute, and she would say that it would get her drunk, so she would do less, not more. She would do less in her drink, so she wouldn't get drunk. Okay, because like I said, she didn't have a drinking problem. She just liked to have her Absolute. The woman lived to be like, I think in her 90s. So
Right, right.
I
Yeah.
think there's something to having a little refreshment every day.
Well, to enjoy yourself in moderation, I think, is the key to everything, because there comes an angst from trying to deny yourself things you think, oh, not good for me. Just like
Right.
going to the fair. If it's once a year and you have an elephant ear or even two.
Oh, we search them out.
Oh,
Oh, look, there's a fair over there. Oh, look, isn't that, yeah. Yeah, no, we search those things out.
I
Not
have not
once a year,
tried.
we'll not do.
I've not tried the deep fried butter, though I've seen people like in the Midwest, deep fried butter is a thing, just like deep fried Oreos are a
How do you
thing.
deep fry butter?
Yeah, yeah. I like the roasted corn. I don't know what they put on it. I'm sure what they're sprinkling on it, but it's like,
Yeah, and you know who I heard has really good roasted corn
who?
is shoot, what's the name of it? It's a Mexican restaurant. There's a few of them around town. One that I'm thinking of is on the corner of Immokalee and 951, that new shopping mall that's in there. There's
Yeah.
a Mexican restaurant,
Okay. I
and
haven't been there yet.
they do roasted corn. We were in there, and Shelby and I were having something else, and the table next to us was having like a birthday party. There must have been 20 people. And out comes this huge plate of roasted corn, and everybody's got their corn on the cob, and they're just, "Ah." And I'm like,
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
oh, and Shelby's like, oh, I meant to tell you. He goes, and I meant to get some. I hear that is like the best stuff. And I was like, I'm like, really? But by this time we'd already eaten. It's like I couldn't put corn in. So
To go.
yeah, well, no, I'm thinking it probably has to be nice and warm right off the. I don't think it's gonna do well to sit.
Ah, okay.
It'd
I'm
be
going to keep that in
soggy.
mind because our whole family does like roasted corn. So,
Yeah, I gotta think of what is the name of that. I know that there's a couple of locations around town.
hmm.
Yeah, and
I will look the next time I'm up there.
yeah, I don't even know how you start to search to see what that is.
Restaurants on 951 in Immokalee. That's what I do.
Oh, you know what? It's Founder Square. I bet you I could look up Founder Square.
Oh, I didn't know that was the name of that.
I think it is Founder Square. I'll tell you here in a second. Founder Square, Naples. Tacos and tequila.
Okay. Oh, hold on. I had a pen here because I know I was just pretending it was a cigarette. Hold on. Ah, okay. That's
Tacos and tequila. If I'm not mistaken, there's one on 41 near Pine Ridge towards the mall. Bless you. Bless you. Little squeaky sound there.
that I tried to control it to be delicate and uplifting.
And then you blew your eardrums out trying to hold it back.
You saw that?
Here it comes.
Yeah. I forget what's blooming. Michael told me. It's our black olive trees because we see it the all over the pond, letting it. And he could feel it himself. He's out there doing his yard work with a COVID mask on, but it helps.
Oh, it helps a lot. You know, you'd see a lot of the landscaper guys, they wear those
Breathe again. Breathing
they're
apparatus.
they're like a cowl and they
Oh,
just pull
yes.
them up.
Yes. Yeah.
They wear those, I
Yeah,
see.
he's got one. And that helps also because the sun
Yeah.
on the back of your neck. I remember that growing up. We would always, because we lived in the country, and all the guys that were doing any kind of outside work would have that red here and then the tan line starting right here. Like,
You know, like you wonder where the name redneck came from.
came from a farming community. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what's scary is when the landscapers out and about, and they'll wear, to protect their faces as well, they'll wear those masks, like the
Right.
full face masks that have like a skeleton face on it or a lion. I'll be driving down the road and one of them will turn to see, to look at the traffic as it's going by, and they'll have one of those crazy masks on, and I'm like, ah!
Yeah, that would be something that I'd be like, oh no, the lion I would be okay with.
You know what? When a person turns around, that is not the thing you expect to see on their face.
True, true. But I'm thinking, yeah, that is true. I don't think I've watched enough TV like with those Beauty and the Beast characters to like to go, okay, that's normal.
Yeah, those mask things that they wear around to, and again, I know it's for protection because it helps to kind of keep the sun off their face, keeps the bugs off their face, keeps the pollen count off their nose and stuff.
Right,
But
right. Well, and yeah, I know out here we just had those fires. So I'm waiting for rainy season. Might sound odd that I hope it
finally
rains.
got rain yesterday. Did you guys get rain?
Not a drop.
Oh my gosh. It got so dark and I was like, please, 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 please. And for anybody who listens to this who's not from Southwest Florida, it can rain in your front yard and you can look
Yep.
out the back and there's not a drop.
That happened to us Wednesday, and it literally we were looking at the front pond. Michael goes, it's raining. We go out and it's like the littlest tiny drops in the front pond. And I'm like, you're crazy, because we walk out the back and our house is not that big, not
No.
a drop. And it was like 5 minutes. So we
Well,
really
it's,
got nothing.
you've seen it. You drive down the street and you're in the rain shower and then all of a sudden you're not.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're waiting
I
for
have
it.
driven, I've
Yeah.
paced myself to not drive into it. If I can see the rain ahead of me and I know it's moving forward, I'll slow down. But yeah,
Me, that's
yesterday we
frozen. Yeah.
got, I think you were, oops. But yes, in case I'm recording, but we got a torrential downpour
Are you?
yesterday. A torrential downpour. There was a ton of water. I couldn't believe it on all four sides of the building.
On all four sides. We got nothing. And it got dark like that. And we're like, please, please, please. Because when I went up, I went to go to the store up off of Wilson. And I was like, oh my word, because that's where that fire was, which is about a mile from the house, maybe 2. And both sides of the street, it actually, I think, hopped over, what is that road? Immokalee? It hopped over the canal and everything. And on Wilson, there's those fences. You know how they make the fences now out of plastic? It was melted. It was like, and we didn't see all the houses, I guess, who had sprinkler systems. They were fine, because you could see the trees right up to like the little square around the house. And we've got a wonderful fire department here.
Yeah, but that's why they
really
say you
good.
shouldn't have any trees within, 10 feet of your house. Just because, yeah, when those fires start, and if it's a hot one, it'll happen. And that's the thing too, is for anybody listening, when these storms do finally start up for us down here, these afternoon rain showers, it's kind of touchy because it's so dry and so kindly and we get a crap load of lightning
Right,
strikes. I mean, tons of lightning strikes. And that's where most of the fires come from.
right.
Most of the fires start from the rain showers starting up. So yeah, hopefully it'll stay safe for everybody. That was a blessing, definitely, yesterday, seeing that, because I was just like, holy smokes. I
Wow.
mean, I think they announced we are officially in drought right now. We're
Yeah, I
having drought
saw that.
conditions.
And yeah, I saw that, and it's like, ooh, makes me worry about the water table and the build and all the building and
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, our the pond behind us, that's it shows the water table, and it's way down.
yeah, the
It's way
canal at the end
down.
of our street is way down. And I know they regulate that.
Yeah.
But the other thing I saw, and I didn't even know they did this, but because we walk every day, the dog up and down, and we have one of those pump houses a little bit up from
Right.
the end of the street. And they were coming and filling the big tankers up with water.
Mm.
So, because I guess, because we don't have fire hydrants.
No, they have to dip it. In fact, when we used to live out in the estates, I remember when there'd be fires, you could see the helicopters going over with those big things that they'd scoop the water and drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
my
Well,
friend, is it
yes.
time?
Yes. And wishing you well. I hope you have a wonderful birthday with Misty and just
Yeah,
enjoy the weekend.
thank you.
Blessings, blessings,
You
blessings.
have a wonderful Easter weekend. Have fun with the bunnies and the Easter egg hunts and however else you're gonna celebrate.
We had a bunny this morning hopping around the front yard, and I said hello. I mean, my neighbors might think I'm crazy, but I see the bird. I'm like, hey, how you doing today?
So are you gonna put on a bunny suit and jump around on Sunday?
Maybe just my ears.
Your ears?
Yeah,
You guys
I
gonna
do
do
still
dinner?
have those things.
Yeah, there you go. Are you gonna do dinner or something with the family?
No, we're not going to go over. We're not going to go over to Miami this year. They have the new kitty, and I'm waiting for it to get a little bigger before we bring Tarzan, and it's just a little crowded for a studio apartment and 4 people, a cat and a dog.
Yeah, right, right.
So
Yeah. Well, you guys have a great Easter.
thank
Enjoy
you.
it. I think
Thank
we're just
you.
gonna be hanging out. Maybe, you know what? Let me see what day happens on Sunday. Maybe I'll reach out to you and maybe we should do something.
Maybe we should get roasted corn. I don't know how many people would be going to tacos and tequila for Easter dinner, but we could. Oh, now watch, there'll be a rush on the place since we said that.
Being the influencers we are, our tens of thousands of followers.
Woo-hoo.
All
Uh,
of a sudden there's an uptick in corn sales.
oh, all right. I love
I
you.
love you, dear. You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.